Congratulations, you've made it through November. I'm Erin Dierig.
And I'm Mackenzie Rupp.
And I'm Harrison the Sportsman Snyder.
And this is Panther's Pause.
We filmed another episode of Panthers Mythbusters for you guys.
You know, for an art guy, you got a lot of physics-related hobbies and abilities.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I mean, you're playing a guitar, which you think is art, but it's really physics.
How so?
Well, think about it. How's your guitar make noise?
Well, I pluck these stringy things, and I move my fingers up and down, and sound comes out of the hole.
All right, that's a place to start. Maybe I can show you a few ways that physics is involved in your guitar.
All right.
Okay, so let's start with a tuning fork. You ever seen one of these, Rob?
I have.
Okay, so tuning forks used to be used to tune musical instruments before we got fancy and use all sorts of electronic ones now. But basically you strike the metal times, and I don't know if you can see, but the metal times are vibrating in there, and what happens is they vibrate the air, which produces sound. Really, sound is a vibrational wave. So what happens when you hear my voice is my vocal cords vibrate the air, which travels through in a longitudinal wave is what it's called. I know, big words. To reach your eardrum and vibrates your eardrum, which turns that air pressure difference into electrical signal your brain interprets. But really, all sound is just a wave.
Okay.
So what's happening with your guitar string is kind of similar to this. If I take different length tuning forks, what do you think is going to change?
I think that one's going to be higher pitched.
Well, right, because when you pluck your guitar strings aren't all the same thickness or the same length, and they produce different pitches. The shorter the times, the higher the pitch, because they vibrate faster, which is called higher frequency, which is what we perceive in sound as pitch. But this is kind of hard to see. I've got another demonstration that might make it a little easier to see what's happening with your guitar string too.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust the tension in the string to tune it. That's kind of what happens here. So when your guitar string is not in tune, it just vibrates all wonky-like, and you don't get the nice sound that you want. But every now and then we reach a frequency. Let me see if I can find one. That creates what's called a standing wave. So down here, if you look really closely, it's not actually moving. There, or at the top. And those are called nodes in the wave pattern. And then here, it's moving a whole lot. But we normally think of a wave as like traveling, right? Well, this doesn't really look like it's traveling. It looks like it's just standing there, going back and forth, which is why it's called a standing wave. This is exactly what your guitar string does. You can't see it because it's vibrating too fast, but the ends where it's secured are not moving. It's only oscillating in the middle, and this produces a nice single frequency sound, which is what you want from your guitar string. Now, what we can also do, this is like one-dimensional, right?
Right.
You're an art guy. We talked about dimensions and perspective.
Right.
This is just a straight line. Well, what if we did the same thing, but in 2 dimensions? So along the plate. This is pretty similar to what we had over there. I've got a motor on the bottom, and I can control it with this function generator over here, producing different frequencies. But now, instead of that wave traveling just along the string, what I have is it vibrating a plate. So this metal plate, imagine it's just like sitting on top of a speaker. You got speakers, and the speaker cone goes up and down in response to whatever's driving it. Well, what's going to happen is sound doesn't just travel through air, like from your guitar or the tuning fork, or through the string, but it also travels through this metal plate. And when it gets to the edge, it's going to reflect back, just like it did on that elastic string. And what happens when we reach the right frequency is we make a standing wave. But instead of it just being in 1 dimension, it's in 2 dimensions along the plate. So I can get different patterns as a result of these different standing waves that I can create on the plate.
And I was out in the ocean and I was trying to surf and the waves weren't big enough. And my brother, he turned the radio on and for some reason the waves got bigger. Does you think that had something to do with it?
No, Rob.
Oh.
But you can believe whatever you want to believe.
My mom always told me that.
Thanks, Hale and Wilhelm. We also have a little surprise for you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the first annual Snyder Panther Teacher Joke Off. In the first round, we've got Schroyer, Ebenheiser, Weitzel, Hart, Norfleet, Hoffman, Kaiser, and Menard head to head. In the first matchup, Schroyer
Knock, knock. Who's there? Etch. Etch who? Bless you, Miss Sills.
versus Ebenheiser.
Hey, Thanksgiving joke. What does Miley Cyrus eat for Thanksgiving? Twerky.
In the second matchup, Weitzel.
How do you get Pikachu on a bus? You Pokemon.
Taking on Hart.
There's a fine line between a numerator and denominator.
And next up we got Norfleet.
What did the red light say to the green light? Don't look at me, I'm changing.
Going toe to toe with Hoffman.
Okay, my joke is, why don't you ever have to worry about a tornado in Detroit? Because you don't ever have to worry about a touchdown there.
And in the finals of the first round, we've got Kaiser.
What do you call an arrogant criminal going down an escalator? A condescending descending.
Taking on the Hawaiian Punch, Mr. Menard.
What did the grape do when he got stepped on? He let out a little whine.
That's funny.
Looking forward to the next round of jokes on next week's show. I hope everyone got their semi-tickets that takes place tomorrow night from 8 to 11. Don't forget to bring your student ID. If you don't have it, you won't be able to get in.
And now to Harrison with the sports news.
Good afternoon, Snyder Panthers. This is Harry, the Sportsman Snyder, bringing you your Snyder Sports. But before we get to that, if anyone is interested in being the new face of Snyder Sports, please see me in room 298. We are looking for someone who loves sports, loves Snyder, and wants to bring it on a weekly basis. On to sports. The boys swim and dive opened with a huge victory over Canterbury Tuesday night, 101-27, and the Lady Panthers were not to be outdone. Also securing a victory over Canterbury, 109-64. Awesome way to get another winning season underway. This Sunday, from 11 to 8, 10% of all sales at Salsa Grill North will be donated to Snyder Swim and Dive, so come show your support. In hockey, at the Ice House last Wednesday night, the Panthers put a hurt on the Bruins with a punishing 4-0. Isaac Morrill kept the paint clean with an outstanding shutout. Hayden Scott lit the light twice. Joe Hacker and Keaton McComb each contributed a goal. The Panthers will hit the ice at Parkview Sport 1 Ice House this Wednesday at 7:30 against the Leo Lions. Let's make it 2 in a row. The girls' basketball team took the court at Norwell last Saturday, suffering a 61-37 loss. Peyton Gorman led the way, scoring 16 points, followed closely by Davis with 15. Tonight at 6, the ladies are back in action at Southside. Come out and cheer them on to victory. The boys' basketball team started the season off with a hard-fought victory over East Noble on Tuesday night, bumping them off 63-60. Michael Ellie was on point, dropping 23. Aaron Thomas, 16, and Dylan Duff, 14. The next game is at 7:45, Friday, December 7th at Wayne. For more on the Panthers boys basketball action, catch Coach Roush and crew on Take 3 that airs on SnyderHoops.com and YouTube Panther Pause 2.0. The wrestling team has been preparing for this weekend's upcoming action. Let's check in with Coach Esther and find out why all the wrestlers are wearing blackout shirts.
Well, the reason our guys are walking around with these blackout shirts on is it's a tradition that we started back when I first came back to coach in 1998. We had one state champion, it was Anthony Lapsley that year, and by process of elimination we had kind of run out of guys to wrestle with. I learned this when I was in high school here when Coach Conley was coaching. we get to the deepest part of the playoffs, and the other guys that were put out of the tournament would come in, and for basically an hour straight, you'd have 5 guys wrestling against one of us. And we kind of took off with this when I came back to coach in '98. So around the year 2000, we decided, and we got into some tough tournaments, and we were going to wrestle 5 matches on a Saturday. So we decided on the Tuesday of that week, we do what is now called the blackout, and I think that's, and thanks in part to Coach Moore, started that name for the tradition, where we just come in and guys put the shoes on, put their headgear on, and for 48 straight minutes or close to an hour, they do a quick warm-up, and for about an hour straight, all they do is wrestle live. And it is hands down the toughest, most enduring athletic event and mentally difficult event that any student athlete in this school goes through. So without question, these guys earned the right to wear these shirts and be proud of that. And their end result for them, the real prize they're going to get, is having confidence and being prepared to compete in competition at the highest level. So we've named it the blackout. Every year it's going to be a tradition. It's evolved and tweaked a little bit. Coach Cochran had some input on it this year. When it was all said and done, we had one of our guys walk out of there. There was a champion. Sophomore Riaka Sheldon was the champion and got the championship belt that was that you see on the wall in the wrestling room. So, well, I tell you, I just dare anybody that thinks they're tough to come up to the wrestling room and be a part of the program. Anybody can wrestle, any size, any weight, any gender, anybody that can handle dealing with adversity, toughness, and not worrying about how hard you have to work and being judged for it for anything. It'll be a quality of life that you'll take with you well beyond wrestling.
Thanks, Coach. Looks like they're putting in the work. Congratulations to Raucus for taking home the belt. Next Tuesday at 6:30, come check out the wrestlers in action at Garrett. Once again, anyone interested in being the face of Snyder Sports, please see me in room 298. That's all for sports. Back to you, Aaron and Mackenzie.
Thanks, Harry.
If you're interested in going to the Madrigal Feast, make sure to pick up a ticket order form. Madrigals take place Saturday, December 8th and Sunday, December 9th.
We spoke with Mr. Tudor to get more information on the posters outside of the auditorium.
Hello, I'm Mr. Tudor. I teach web design at Snyder High School, and my web students just finished their graphic design projects. We spent 5 weeks doing graphic design, and their final project of their graphic unit was to take a teacher picture and Photoshop that onto a famous athlete. We've been doing this at Snyder for the past 18 years. It's an annual project, and you can see all of the students' works in the commons area by the auditorium.
Every teacher received a Nelson Award at a meeting last week. Ask your teacher about their award.
A+, right?
Grounded?
I had a different vote, but they all went against me. So most extra goes to Mr. Hiskel.
please realize that any appeals regarding your awards come right here to these three.
That's all we have for you this week, Panthers.
I'm Erin Dierig.
And I'm Mackenzie Rupp.
And this is Panther's Pause.
Have a great weekend, and don't forget to drive safely.
True fact. Best costume.
Hey! What are you meddling kids doing?